Hello again, Brian Jennings, the Millennial Dragon. This channel exists as a method to process my pathological relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I am the reason that he canceled his film, The Movie Critic, last year. And after he set me up at a screening at De Niro Con of Jackie Brown, when I didn't bend to his psychic whim, he and those around him, however many people are involved, entered into a Faustian covenant to compel me to lose my mind. So, there are several people who are in the know. This is not, right? It's not just me and him, right? His agency, William Morris Endeavor, is aware. Martin Scorsese is aware. Paul Schrader is aware, who actually replied to my emails until he realized that it was real. And then he clammed up real quick. Right? Marty's daughter, Francesca. Right? Transdagio from Fish, I wrote Fish. Right? Writers David Berlinski, Salman Rushdie, and perhaps Thomas Pynchon. I wrote all of them. I don't know who's involved, but I suspect at least that Salman Rushdie is aware because I wrote his agent's will. And I know that David Berlinski is in the know. Right? So, I wrote them several letters about us reconciling, right? And I've just been, the more that I think about it, the more I'm just like flying in my rage at the audacity of it all. The reason that I say the things that I say, right? The reason that I say that I live in perpetual fear and anxiety that he's going to send people here to murder me, right? Is because the things that he's done, right? Him and whomever is involved, I suspect his wife is, that of course I don't really know, right? Is a two-way street, right? He didn't just crawl all the way into my mind, right? He allowed me to crawl all the way into his mind as well, right? And so this is my point when I say he didn't do this for this condition to persist for 20 years. For 20 years. And that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to consider, right? So, he always wanted me to kill myself. There was never any other goal, right? And now it's become dangerous because he can't trick me with his mind. His mind isn't strong enough to break my mind, right? But he has $200 million, doesn't he? His wife's nepotism, she has money, right? They know exactly where I am, right? And so he's just bullying me, right? He's just a sad, weird guy. He's just a sick, weird guy. I've called him a degenerate 1,000 times, right? And so what I'm saying is that, right, this is why the channel exists, right? Remote viewing is a two-way street, right? That you don't just jump into someone's mind, right? When you open that aperture, they come into your mind as well, right? And so now it's become a case study. That's my point, right? And if we don't come together, if we don't spend any real time together, the two of us, right, perhaps the three of us, if Danielle is involved, are mentally ill forever, right? And this is where my fear comes in, right? That he's going to hit his breaking point psychologically, right? And then he'll kill me, and that'll be the end of his problems, right? It's a very dangerous condition. I cannot stress that enough. I've written a novel. It's a novelization of my experiences. I had the design initially to say much more awful shit, awful things, right? Just like he said about me, right? Because while he's stolen all of my secrets, I've stolen all of his as well. But rather than do that, I'll just pick up where I left off. Building a coven. Today has been difficult. Another letter arrived, and still nothing, not a single word. By the afternoon I was crying, and in my despair Claire returned, asking if something was wrong, to which I replied, I can't control what they do. He asked if there was something they could do. I asked him if they wrote, which I already knew they did. And when he confirmed, I said there was nothing else they could do. I was so moved, all the more with his departing thought. We're with you. I heard him tell them I was upset, and I felt them all praying for me, wanting Alistair to reconcile with me. We all felt it. Willow feels absent, yet instrumental. He came back soon enough, asking me if it would help if we did Hamlet. Very insistent. And I had to admit, yes, of course. He tells me, my daughter wants to play Ophelia, and my bewilderment feels complete. Where I once fantasized happy thoughts about us, now when she tells me that abomination inside of her she intends to name after me, I fantasize about blowing my brains out the moment she yells my name, giving birth to another man's baby. Only then is the ritual complete, and my life will have its meaning, will meet its end. And to be clear, if you think anyone else will be on her mind the moment she shits that Cyclops out into the world, you haven't been paying attention. It is so perverse and disgusting, my mind is incapable of concocting it. These conjurings have no place in my heart and mind. I know masochism is a recurring motif in the films, but this is exorbitant. It just feels evil now, and it kills me inside. While walking, Alistair and I discuss how everything's fucked up. I guess he didn't actually expect them to write, to which I would ask, why? Because I wrote? They know I can do it, and they know how badass it is. As he tells me, it just can't be right now. He pauses, saying, I don't want to keep going. It feels like someone else is here. Annabella whispers, it's Clay. He asked me if I would write. I said I will, and he left. Clam is playing in Albany this weekend, the weekend before Halloween, October 25 through 27. The bass player for the Grateful Dead has passed away, given up the ghost. Phil Lesh, rest in peace. His book, Searching for the Sound, is a wonderful memoir I enjoyed reading all those years ago. I was writing about him, crying, grieving, and Clay came, asking if I was thinking about him, Phil. Asked if the letter was in the mail, and told me they all cried too. Tomorrow is Halloween. I have tonight and tomorrow night. I have tonight and tomorrow night in this other hostel across town. It's full of European tourists, but I met one American here watching David Gilmour. Would that I have the means. I have no doubt it is worth the cost of admission. My flight to Alabama is scheduled for the afternoon, November 1st. Lisa, Clay's daughter, has emerged. Given how everything with Willow has gone, I told her to fuck off immediately. I grow weary of this treatment. She says she wants to be close. Clay says things about the heart. It is so confusing. This has never been what I wrote. I acquiesce. With all of it sitting so heavy upon me, I call my mother and ask her to help me with some money to buy booze to relax. She got upset and blocked me. I'm not that surprised. She is indoctrinated by her professional instruction. I am alone once again. Not a single soul to talk to about any of it. It has become a willful agoraphobic. I have become a willful agoraphobic. All of the time I've spent outside with no shelter from the storm has bred a contempt for the outside world. I feel there is nothing for me out there, and so have gone nowhere today. Writing constantly, napping, conversing as best as an alien in an alien land can. I am in a fog. My every breath feels perilous. I tell Lisa to help someone else instead of hang out in my head. Her father approves of my demeanor, my expectations. I don't like these games anymore. The mind seems a wasteland to me. I sought to fill it with good things. Love, wisdom, music, poetry. I would rather know. But now I am seeing something else. Something I would prefer to know only in books. It is the heaviest burden anyone can bear. The worst density, magic, sorcery, intention, will, thought energies, the casting of a spell, power. 'Tis as easy as lying. When I think on her, Willow, who is always as close as she sees fit, doing what she does, Strolling through the corridors of anyone's mind she wants to inhabit feels very disgusting to me. It is sick, in no way healthy, a pitiable obsession, pathological. I called myself a sin-eater when I offered to take my curse back. But objectively, it seems in analyzing Willow's actions, she, in fact, gains something she desires or finds enjoyment in stealing psychologies, lying with reckless abandon. Undoubtedly, most people are flat, one-dimensional, fill half a page with their whole lives. I would guess most of her friends are other nepotism babies, which does them no favors in the development of character. I am not a monkey in a cage, you fucking miserable whore. She's the real writer. My mind thinks double entendre. I'll never give her this satisfaction. It's too funny. Fuck you for behaving this way. So many nights now I've listened to Hamlet and felt them with me. Willow, Alistair, Annabella, and it feels special. When I think on Lisa and Clay, Alistair and everyone tell me it's not bullshit. He pleads with me to see, but it seems too good to be true. I've never felt close to anyone. I am closer to them by product of her design than anyone. Yet why do I worry they seek to destroy me? I found an old encyclopedia in Hebrew and have confiscated it. I'll mail it to Alistair when I land, where the catapult launches me. I told him, don't say I never gave you anything, and if you can't read it, you give it to Annabella's father. He said something which only surprised me a little. So you haven't forgotten about me. How could I ever forget family? He wishes me well. He tells me he loves me, that he sees me as his son too, and assures me we will meet soon. Perhaps one day he can teach me to read Hebrew. The ability to read the 3 primary languages being necessary for full proliferation of spirit, unlocking the hologram. Alistair assures me it's just a couple months, that everything's too fresh, too hideous, and I know he's right. But with Clam, it felt like we would move forward, as it is sublime, in terms of scope and optics. It is a real gesture to make it right, my error of inaction in June. And I would say fair, being Madison Square Garden, 30,000 in attendance, my rant would make a whole subsect of the viewing public go see the film twice. Hashtag saw it again challenge. My point being, I know how much I fucked up. If I had done everything right, I would have done everything I could to keep Willow away. Daughter's never factored into writing her father, though I know she too has a lethal charm. When I thought her sincere, I thought the writers would be enough for Alistair to let us be together. And when it became obvious she hates me, I offered my favorite band as an alternative to our mutual humiliation, and they've expressed interest. He says we have to wait. It is as fucked up as anything can be. Tragic tedium. My melancholy sits unbrewed in my misty mountain madness. I left the hostel around 10 a.m. and set out walking towards LAX. I arrived exhausted several hours later, having written almost consistently every day all year. My bag is overburdened with my notebooks. Gumshoe rumination. It is the most I have written in 1 year. Approaching the ticket counter, Alistair was reassuring. You're coming back, don't worry, you're coming back. It's just a couple months, and the like. There is no ticket. My mother did not actually buy the ticket, only reserved it. I am back where I began, lost with no resources, brought to the edges of sanity. The sun will be gone soon. I am sitting in the United Terminal. There is nowhere for me to go, nor do I have the strength to get anywhere, having no money, no shelter, no sanctuary. All curses double back. Now have I humiliated myself enough? I'll get my cash assistance and food stamps in 2 days and 4 days, respectively. I won't be able to do anything until then. How can my life seem so rich and full while crippled with isolation? My thoughts dwell in despair. I want to ask if I've done anything to deserve all of this, but I know I haven't. I'm devoted to goodness for its own sake, flaws notwithstanding. She really seems awful. She makes me resent being trusting and loving. She used those qualities against me for sport. The cruelest behavior conceivable. To torture. No other reason. Maybe even she believes it when she tells me she loves me. Sociopaths always believe their own lies. The temple at Delphi is the only good place she could end up on her current trajectory. If she mutates her intention, I mean. Otherwise, her psyche will be so waterlogged, her malignancies of thought will degrade into sorcery and necromancy. Her perversions will continue until there is nowhere left to go. Ritual blood magic, anthropomancy, the purest violent evil. Virgin sacrifices, yielding hormonal influx as to satiate the ceaseless craving. Mephisto always destroys Faust, and she will find her moment she hopes never ends, and the devil will get his due. 3 days have passed. Clay, Lisa, and Q have now become psychic staples, as with Alistair, Willow, Annabella, her father. When I think on it, Alistair and Annabella tell me not to overthink it at first, but eventually admit they reached out when they heard Clay ask if there was anything they, Clan, could do when I was upset after they wrote. Around the same time, Niche became aware of our continued separation. I know they all helped me as best as they were able, and I am forever in their debt. I do so very much hope I have some way to pay them all back. Having not eaten for over 50 hours, when my benefits arrived this morning, I walked many emaciated miles to the first gas station I saw near the closest train stop to the airport. I bought a cup of coffee, phone charger, and a pack of smokes. While waiting in line, I asked the two guys behind me if either of them knew where a dispensary was. Only one answered, offering cross streets sincerely. Sitting outside on the curb, I lit a cig and relaxed. After only a minute, a van pulled up and stopped right next to me. It was the same guy from inside. He rolled down the window and asked me what I was looking for, in a weed sort of way, not a homosexual sort of way. To which I said, "Oh, just a pre-roll." He took a cigarette cellophane and stuffed it with a solid 8 and maybe 10 papers, telling me he had just gotten off work. A solid 8th and maybe 10 papers, telling me he had just gotten off work and that he knows how it is. I would guess he grows it. I thanked him and he drove away. I rolled a fat joint, hit it 3 times, then stuffed my face across the street at Denny's and walked back to the airport to charge my phone. So I'll stop there, I suppose. Right? So it's a novelization of my experiences with Quentin on the psychic frontier about the movie Critic. Right? I wrote Quentin 4 letters, right, about playing the lead in the movie Critic. That set into motion a series of events that led to where we are now. Right? It's important to express, right, in clear, unequivocal language. There is no daughter, right? Eliza and Trey were never involved in this formula, right? I cannot say with any definitive certainty who else is involved. I suspect Daniela is involved, but I do not know that, right? Perhaps it's all a sick intellectual exercise for Quentin Tarantino, right? So, this is my point when I say it. His intention, right? He did all of this, right? To overwhelm my mind and hope that I would believe that death is better, right? And I'd blow my brains out. And we're getting to that point in the book now. And I've already mentioned it more than once, right? But I'll say it here because we're talking about it, right? That he poisoned my mind with visions of me putting a bullet in my mouth and my temple and led me to believe that it was my psychic prowess giving it to him, right? Saying, oh no, we don't want you to do that, right? It's this very, very subtle, seductive, like, reverse psychology bullshit, right? And so when I turned it all on him, right, at the new year, right, eventually he came clean and told me, right, through the psychic crucible of the mind's eye, the same way that he revealed his daughter to me, that he doesn't have a daughter, that it was all bullshit, right? And so that's why I've been coming clean ever since. I've been doing everything I can to come clean ever since, right? Because he's a sick, pathological, dangerous man who doesn't respect any of the things that he's been given in his life, right? If he was cool, right, if he was actually cool, he would have he never had to say anything to me, right? He could have mailed me a single letter with a non-disclosure agreement and a check and said, this is how I make my movies. You don't want to play the game, right? You opted out, so that's for your scene. You sign this, and you go play Hamlet in Honolulu or South Dakota, right? No LA privilege. Your LA privileges are revoked, etc., 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 right? Rather than do that, rather than look in his heart and listen to God, right? Listen to that divine, abstract, intellectual quality, right? He decided, oh no, this guy doesn't want to submit to me. He's an actor who doesn't want to submit to me, right? So I'll use this power to try to make him, right, to compel him to blow his brains out, to compel him into permanent hospitalization, right? And so now that he's failed doing that, right, he's descended into palpable black magic evil, right, which is making me seriously consider reaching out to Westboro Baptist to make them picket outside of the offices of WME, right, as well as outside of every Fish show, right, because everyone that I've written in an effort to help us reconcile has all cast their allegiances with evil. I don't know what he tells them. I don't know. I suspect it's something to the effect of, oh, I have no idea what he's talking about. He's lost his mind. Once he sues me, I'll pay him whatever he wants. Right? And so what I'm saying is that while I am doing that as best as I can, I don't have $100,000 for an attorney. I'm doing everything pro se, right? That I am not insane, right? That this is my figurative Bible, right? I have a real Bible in another room, but I'm not going to go get it, right? Hand on the Bible, saying everything that I'm saying is true, right? That this is what actually happened, right? And if I'm insane, right? Like this is my point, right? Like this is my real point. If I'm insane, right? Why hasn't Fish and the Discovery Institute showed me the letters they received that involve me, right? Why hasn't the Tribeca Film Festival released the screening of Jackie Brown, right? This is my point, right? When everything got fucked up and I realized that he's just been humiliating me all these months, I sent an email to Fish as well as the Discovery Institute and said, no, this is, right, there's something evil, there's something rotten in the state of Denmark, right? I want you to send me every correspondence that you received that involves me. That's all. Just me. Right? Crickets, right? And so my point is that the Discovery Institute, right, sure, you want to be blasphemous degenerates, that's your right. But Fish, right, the band Fish, right, if the truth of the matter was just that I sent them 5 letters and I'm mentally ill, they would have sent me those letters and said, we know you're struggling. We can see that you're not well in your mind. We love you. You're always welcome at our shows. Thank you for supporting us. Right? Right? And I admit, he made a complete fucking fool of me. Right? Got me good. Made me love Eliza. Made me think we were in love. Nobody loves me. Pretty funny. Right? So, what am I talking about? Right? What I'm saying right now, and I'm not going to go on and on, but maybe another 3 minutes I'll discuss this, right? That life is not an accident, right? That there is a latent intellect diffused within every cubic centimeter of space, right? In that same manifold, right? In that same condition, right? There is a twofold condition, right? And so if you look behind me, right? You have Ezekiel's wheel, right? You have 88 subdivisions, 8 golden mean spirals, 29 arcs, the stellation pattern of the icosahedron, all 59 stellations, right? Atlantis, right? The ineffable in the Great Pyramid, and that great demon Baphomet, right? All of these things, right, as well as this thing, right, which is a star tetrahedron complex of 40 tetrahedra, 20 pointing up, 20 pointing down, are all nested perfectly inside of each other, right? As an infinite complex of nested polyhedra, which is a hologram of electric quantum probability waveform potential, right? And so diffused within all of that is a conscious resonance, the conscious field, often referred to as God, deity, right? That through the expression of the conscious field moving from A to B through this infinite nesting, right? It exerts pressure upon the hologram, right? And the dihedral, the specific angle with which the conscious field decides to exert pressure upon it, right, reflects what it manifests materially in the physical world as matter, right? That everything resides as idea, Platonic forms, Plato's allegory of the cave, right? All things reside as idea, right? And so the expression of the conscious field exerting pressure upon the hologram collapses a large volume into a small volume. And the electric resistance becomes so great as friction grating against itself in space that it becomes so dense it can no longer remain inert space and erupts as corpuscular manifested matter, first as photons of light, then chemical elements, right? Then, right, atmospheric strata, mineral, vegetable, animal, man, ultimately leading to complex cellular structure. And man, right? Man is the end of evolution because it is the only piece of the hologram that can look back and offer a reflection sincere to its divine origin. All instances of psychic phenomenon, of clairvoyance, derive from the mind of the adept tapping into the non-locality of the conscious field, which exists perpetually in a state of rest in every cubic centimeter of space for all time, right? And so the highest levels of the adept sees them behaving like God. Michael Talbot's The Holographic Universe. This is how nuns heal the sick, right? You can heal the sick, and on the other end, far easier, you can destroy and put things in their untimely demise, right? So, right, Quentin played this subtle bullshit game for a long time, right? And now he's stolen my wisdom, and he's doing real palpable black magic evil, right? To torture me and compel me to madness, and in fact try to destroy my body with his mind. That's why this channel exists, right? And that's why we're talking about it. This novel spans between the years between May of 2021 to February of 2025. And the most palpable evil has all occurred since April of 2025, right? So we're talking about it every day, right? And so I'll leave you with this, right? Know that life is not an accident, right? Shakespeare, I'll leave you with this. No. My dream was lengthened after life. Oh, then began the tempest to my soul. I passed, methought, the melancholy flood, with that sour ferryman which poets write of, unto the kingdom of perpetual night. The first that there did greet my stranger soul was my great father-in-law, renowned Warwick, who spake aloud, what scourge for perjury can this dark monarchy afford false credence? And then he vanished. Then came wandering by a shadow like an angel with bright hair dabbled in blood, and he shrieked out aloud, Clarence is come! False! Fleeting! Perjured Clarence, that stabbed me in the field at Tewkesbury. Seize on him, Furies! Take him into torment! With that, methought, a legion of foul fiends environed me, and howled in mine ears such hideous cries, that even with the very noise I trembling waked, and for a season after could not believe but that I was in hell. Such terrible impression made my dream.